It's Christmas in July, and it's listener request week here on Kicking Out at 2. I'm your host, Dave Rosenbluth, and thank you all so very much for tuning in, checking us out, hitting play, pressing download, whatever you do to listen to this podcast. I thank you all so very much for doing that. And we got a fun show planned for you this week. Originally, I had different ideas for this last week of July, but, some circumstances took place, and I thought I'd switch things up a bit. Nick Opalewski, longtime listener of Kicking Out at 2, as well as the WretroMania Pro Wrestling Podcast Network, sent me a private message and said, I'd like for you to do a watch-along of the December 24th, 1990 edition of PrimeTime Wrestling on Peacock. So I had to search to find it. You can find it on Peacock. I'll give you all the directions in a minute. But I was thinking to myself, December 24th, that's Christmas time. Wouldn't that be something I would do around Christmas time? But then, pop culture out there, they have the whole, Christmas in July theme, what have you. So I thought, okay, why not? I'll do a watch along in the middle of July on a Christmas episode of wrestling because it's Christmas in July this week. So, Nick, hope you enjoy it. But more importantly, I hope you guys enjoy this week's show because it's been a long time coming since this has been coming down the pike. I've done this show for a couple of years, and if you listen to my pilot episode, I gave a few special shout-outs to some people that, really helped me get this podcast going along, and one of them is my good friend, my dear friend, my close personal longtime friend, my first wrestling friend ever, and one of my best friends of all time. I've known him since I was 7 years old. I'm 38. Do the math. My good buddy, Dean Yalanis. What's up, pal?
Dave, thank you so much for having me here.
It's been a long time, man. I'm really looking forward to this.
I am looking forward to this, too.
All right. Dean, why don't you give the audience a little bit of a background, a little bit of a history of our wrestling fandom and how we linked up? Because I briefly mentioned it I did a podcast a couple weeks ago about growing up a wrestling fan with my grandparents.
Sure.
And I talked about our story a little bit. You can find that in the archives over at the WretroMania Pro Wrestling Podcast Network by searching WretroMania with a W. That's the cheap plug, of course. But yeah, I talked about that a little bit. So why don't you kind of give your perspective as to how we met and how wrestling has brought us together?
So really quick, I'm riding my bike down my old street that I grew up on. And we were introduced by I'm not going to say her last name, our friend Kristen at the time. And I was so stoked to meet somebody who liked wrestling as much as I did, if not more than me. And so really, if we had to look, one of our foundations, right, of like this lifelong brotherhood has been wrestling.
Yeah.
Really?
Some form or another, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, like, you grow and, like, we've gone through a lot of stuff together. But the actual very first thing that we connected on is wrestling.
Yep.
So this is really cool to be here.
Yeah, this is very cool to have you because, I mean, you're my oldest friend. No bullshit, you're my oldest friend. And not oldest because of your age, but just my oldest friend that I've had. You're a lifelong friend. So, and I don't have many of those anymore. But that's okay. As long as I got you, then we're good. But I thought, we were having a conversation before we clicked record, and we were talking about how wrestling has changed, and I thought it's perfect timing. We made plans to get together here. I thought, Dean would probably want to do a podcast, so why don't we watch the December 24th episode of Primetime Wrestling from 1990, which you can find on Peacock. You search Peacock, grab your Peacock and have it ready to go. Search Primetime Wrestling, and then you'll click on the icon. You'll see Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon in the icon, and you're going to go to Season 6, the December 24th, 1990 episode. The episode runs 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 14 seconds. When I say play, you're going to hit play, and from time to time, I might turn the audio up for some promos or, things like that. But, I'll give you guys a timestamp every so often, so hopefully you're on track with us. So, are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's do it. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hit play. We open here with the graphics. Looks like Jimmy Snuka is going to wrestle Haku.
Ooh, good match.
And we'll also see the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith taking on the Playboy Buddy Rose. Big Bossman in action on this episode of Primetime Wrestling, along with the Barbarian and Saba Simba.
Otherwise known as Tony Atlas.
Tony Atlas, that's right. And then we see here, it looks like the Legion of Doom are going to be in action. Those two poor souls must have not gotten paid enough to get...
Warrior
Warrior with the Splash. See Bossman, Dino Bravo, Jim Neidhart, Demolition, the $1 Million Man, and of course the man,
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster, if you will. Oh, Rick Martel. We got more. Coco Beware, Jimmy Hart, the Bushwhackers, Honky Tonk Man, another shot of Hogan, because why not? Rick Rude, Jake the Snake, Mr. Perfect, Tito Santana, the Dr. Styles, like, oh yeah, Macho Man, and a crowd shot of WrestleMania 3 with your hosts, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Greatest announcing team of all time.
Yes, indeed. Talk to me a little bit about why you feel they are the best, as we see Gorilla open this Primetime Wrestling edition in a very festive holiday mood.
Their synergy together is unbeatable. My opinion, their synergy is probably the greatest that I've ever seen. Granted, the King was great too with JR. I don't know. Why don't you have your listeners write in? Who do we think is better? King and JR or Bobby Heenan and Gorilla? My vote, personally, is Gorilla and Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree. Gorilla and Bobby definitely are at the top of the list. JR and the King are probably second. And, there's some definitely underrated... why don't we play the audio for this here? Because I would imagine these two probably got some funny things to say.
Who? Brother Love? And the $1 Million Man? You consider them underprivileged?
Little children.
Oh. My heart goes out to you.
And Trixie.
Don't try to string any lights.
Trixie, their nanny.
We're in enough trouble as it is here. I thought last week was the end of you, but you're still here. In addition to the names of the superstars already mentioned here on Primetime, Jake the Snake is going to be with us on our Christmas program.
Where should I stick this?
I'd like to tell you. The Undertaker as well is going to be here on Primetime, and Power and Glory.
I can't trim that tree. It's too big.
Why don't you just forget about it, okay? We'll go to our first match, and maybe you can decide what to do. Legion of Doom leading things off.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah. LOD. All right, so we talked about this earlier, wrestling not being the same. This is a prime example of it here, where we have enhancement talent, a.k.a. jobbers, which is like a derogatory term to most wrestling fans here, being fed as the poor souls for the Legion of Doom to feast on here.
I really miss the enhancement talent, I gotta say.
Yeah.
It really gave you that feeling for like the big SummerSlams, WrestleManias.
Yep.
Because it was wrestler versus wrestler.
Yeah.
I just miss that.
Yep.
Quite frankly.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it would be something that works all the time in today's wrestling, but it's something that I think can be implemented from time to time.
I think it would be great. It would also give a new guy a chance too. Mick Foley was that enhancement talent at one time.
Yes, he was. He was an enhancement talent at one time. I believe he told the story of a time where he was an enhancement talent in a match against the British Bulldogs, and Dynamite Kid had took his head off and clotheslined him and broke his jaw, and he couldn't eat for like 3 weeks. something crazy like that.
Hawk and Animal, my opinion, greatest tag team of all time.
You know what? There was actually a tag team list that WWE put out on the network recently. And they listed Hawk and Animal as... But they did greatest WWE tag teams. They didn't do overall tag teams from different organizations. Oh, here we go. Mr. Fuji and the Orient Express. Let's hear what Fuji's got to say.
Present for you.
See the promo.
Very Merry Christmas.
Mr. Fuji.
So classic.
Yeah.
I love how they would sell the product during the product.
Yep.
I really love that.
Like where they would have the split screen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, split screen promos.
There's so much nostalgia here just watching this with you and watching the way at WWE, WWF at the time, obviously, but what WWE would do.
Yeah.
Good God. So much. Okay, so if you're CEO of a day or a week, what would you do to bring back the emotion of wrestling?
The emotion of wrestling?
Yeah, this is open to your listeners too.
Okay.
I want to hear what you have to say first.
All right. I think you would have to start with... I think you would need a good blend of writers that can help structure a television show, format it for TV, but at the same time, you'd also need people that have plenty of product knowledge when it comes to wrestling itself. And I don't think there's enough of that. I think you have way too many guys that had, that use wrestling as a springboard to get into Hollywood, or some guys that come from Hollywood that and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with Hollywood writers or television writers that have scripted the product, because there's been some great stuff that they've put out over the years with Hollywood writers. But I mean, I think wrestling has evolved in some good ways and in some not so good ways, and I think one of those evolutions that I feel has lacked has been the consistency in the storytelling.
Do you remember when we were kids, they would run a story for over a year? Even when the story ended, they get in the Royal Rumble. Oh, no love lost between these two. It would always be Gorilla and everything. Is that what you're... What?
The consistency in the story, yeah, absolutely. I think... But at the same time, you also have to look at when wrestling, during that time period, there was only 4 pay-per-views a year. Now there's a pay-per-view every month, or fucking even sometimes twice a month.
Sure. Sure.
So, everything happens so fast. I can't really... I just think that there's not enough product knowledge when it comes to the consistency in the storytelling in wrestling today. Like, you just get a Hollywood writer that, is just... I don't know. I feel like for the better part of the last 10 years or so, our intelligence has been insulted. An older audience, okay? Because they've been catering to a younger audience, which there's nothing wrong with that, because a younger audience...
We were that audience.
But we were that audience at one point. I think what's also hurt it, too, is being able to have so much information at your fingertips with Google and the internet and social media and things like that, you and I, we would watch a show, and it's not like there was no internet back then. We wouldn't go jump on the internet and see how everybody else thought about the show.
Sure.
We would just watch it and then be like, oh, can't wait till next week.
Sure.
Now it's like, oh, we watch the show, roll credits, and it's like, oh, let's see what Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer had to say, or let's see what so and so on this message board has to say. Sure. You know what I mean?
Sure. So do you think? So I mean, we've had this conversation a lot of times that we don't feel that wrestling is what it was.
Yep.
Do you feel it's because we're not 7 anymore, or do you feel it's because of the product? I think there's 2 points. I feel like there's a certain part that's not. We're not kids, obviously.
Yep.
But I think there's also the product is not what it used to be.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's better. It's great. They have wonderful writers. But something's missing.
I think there's a lot of believability that's missing. I think when we were kids, we wanted. I think too many, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the being able to get information at your fingertips. When we were kids, also too, we'd watch a movie. Okay, we would go to the movie theater, right, and we'd watch a movie, and it's not like we would then go search for Siskel and Ebert's, star rating approval on these movies, or if they gave it a 2 thumbs up or whatever. Sure. It wasn't like that we would go do that. Sure. I think we would get lost in it, and we would be like, wow, that was a great movie. Absolutely. I'd watch that again. Or, hey, maybe they'll do a sequel, We nowadays, we want results yesterday. At least that's what the wrestling audience has been conditioned to. And therefore, we also want to micromanage and pick it apart instead of just getting lost in it sometimes. But then there's times too, Dean, where I could try to get lost in it, and then there will be things that just don't make sense. Sure. And maybe that's my 38-year-old brain working.
Sure.
Sure.
I mean, on a side note, I do want to say, nothing but respect to all the federations and the wrestlers and what they do, too, because I'm sure it takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to insult anybody, while we're doing this. So nothing but respect to everybody. But with that said, too, where's your level of love for the product, for everything? Today, yeah. So, I mean, I know, and I mean, anyone who's listening to this probably wouldn't know, but, we were massive fans, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, we absolutely loved it. Everything was great. Even at that time, let's say we did have internet back then, right? If someone said something, it wouldn't sway you. It wouldn't have swayed you. If someone said, "Oh, that wasn't good," it wouldn't have swayed you.
Yeah.
On anything.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe there's so many different variables, but, I mean, where does the love come back? Like, where does that feeling of grasp? I think a lot of the new guys have a lot of charisma, too.
I think what, for me, personally, is if there's a clear and concise story between two guys or two girls and they have chemistry and it makes sense, and then the end result being like a good match or the results of a good match, that's where the love is. That's what I jones for. I jones for a story that I could sink my teeth into and where I can relate to it and on some level, and then what I want to see at the end is the fucking big payoff. This guy cheats to beat this guy. Well, I want to see this guy get his revenge back. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's where the love is. It's still some of those old school values as a wrestling fan, but maybe in a modernized form.
Absolutely. I miss, like, we just saw Mr. Perfect Fisherman Suplex, Texas Tornado, right?
Yep, with a little help from DiBiase.
I miss knowing that one move and you knew where the match was going to go.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, okay? Because, you know, that's a big thing that bothers me in wrestling today is these moves that when we were kids, if Shawn Michaels hit you with the super kick, it was all over.
It was done.
If Jake the Snake hit you with the DDT, you were definitely done. Now those are moves that have become transition spots in wrestling, and it drives me nuts. And then the guy doesn't sell it to save his life. It makes it even worse. And everyone uses everyone's move. That's the problem. There's no individuality. Okay? You know how many guys use the super kick? You could probably count on both hands and then continue counting how many guys in wrestling across the board use the super kick.
Sure. I mean, it's not to take anything back from the athleticism of today's guys, right? Because, like, we're two fans who are watching, right? But, or two lifelong fans. But I miss knowing, okay, with LOD's move, I can't think of the name of it, but...
The Doomsday Finish?
Doomsday Finish. Hawk jumps up off the top. Once Animal put him up, you knew it was over, and you waited for it.
Yep.
You wanted to see...
Nobody was kicking out of that.
Nobody. DDT, Jake Roberts. Nobody.
Done.
The one time I remember as a kid seeing anyone kick out of this finish was Warrior kicking out of Hogan's
At
finish.
WrestleMania 6.
At 6.
Yep.
That was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, that was like huge for
that was
the time.
mind-blowing, yeah.
I mean, the athleticism's amazing. Everything's great, but I miss knowing that feeling. I miss seeing those specialized moves, you know?
Here's another thing that I think, you know, has become a point of contention with wrestling fans then and now. We're watching this right now. It's Barbarian and Saba Simba from Primetime Wrestling, okay? By the way, I'll give you all a little bit of a timestamp here. We're at 13 minutes, 59 seconds, 14, 01, 02, 03, if you're following along. Now, at 7 to 8 years old, you and I aren't going to micromanage and pick apart this presentation here because we just wanted to get lost in it in wrestling.
Sure.
But let's be honest with ourselves. You know, 38-year-old, 39-year-old Dave Rosenbluth and Dean Yalanis, we're not exactly over the moon excited to watch this match just based on the look of these two guys. They look like, you know, two barbarians. No pun intended.
No
here.
pun intended. Right?
No pun intended. But it's not exactly a desirable presentation of professional wrestling that we're watching right here with these two guys. Would you say?
I think it's... I like the nostalgia of it, for sure. For
As
sure,
right,
the production value is, like, way high.
Well, I'm just talking about them two as characters in general. Like, people for the longest time have said they want to see, you know, more reality. But, you know, you get fans that be like, oh, I want to see more reality-based characters. Or, you know, I want to see more larger-than-life characters, you know, because it's wrestling. I want to get lost in it. Me, personally, I like to see a good mixture of both.
Sure.
Would you, in 2021, want to see a Barbarian and Saba Simba let's say if they were in their prime currently today in today's wrestling.
I would watch it.
Okay, and tell me why.
I would watch it.
Talking to the mic a little more.
I think the character mix is cool. I dug the characters. I think I would still kind of dig a character.
Okay.
Like, I think the Barbarian's a really cool character.
Okay.
The Tony Atlas as Saba Simba, I just knew even as a kid that was Tony Atlas. So
yeah.
I guess it's hard to to
get lost into that.
How do you take someone who's as well known as Tony Atlas, who I really like Tony Atlas, and then make him Saba Simba? Like, it's Tony Atlas.
Yep.
But it's Saba Simba. But I would like that. Yeah, I would like the reality of it too. I mean, if it's more realistic, if it's more of a realistic character, I would like that too. I want to get lost in wrestling again. I want to be able to watch pay-per-view with you specifically, and get lost in it and feel the joy that we can feel.
Yep.
And kind of go back.
Yeah. I think I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think in the last year or so, I'll be honest with you, as a fan of wrestling, I've watched more older wrestling, and for this podcast purpose, of course, but because of the element of the live audience not being there due to the pandemic, it's been rough. It's been really rough to watch, all these wrestling fans zoomed in on WWE programming, and then AEW had like limited fans, or they would have their roster be the fans, and I get it. You got to do what you got to do in order to stay afloat and survive. But I think with the advent of fans returning, and some of the stuff that I've seen recently on AEW with the fans returning and the audience. I get more lost in the reactions from the audience of what they're seeing, because I haven't seen an audience in wrestling in such a long period of time that getting lost in the actual product itself has been secondary for me.
Sure.
WWE, they did WrestleMania earlier this year in front of a limited crowd, and going into it, I wasn't really impressed with the card. On paper, it felt like, and it was 2 nights, so I felt like it was like 2 nights of Raw and SmackDown, like back to back. But that crowd was so into it, it made an otherwise less than desirable story become watchable or more exciting because the audience was back. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So, as a fan, I want to get lost in the stories itself.
Sure.
But I can't help right now get lost in the reaction of seeing people and their reactions itself, because it's been rough watching wrestling
on the other
this
hand,
last year without seeing fans,
Sure. Even on the other hand, I mean, I definitely sympathize with the wrestlers themselves not being able to work with the crowd. That must be really hard for them too. And also, like, kudos to all the companies who kept going.
Yeah, I talked about it before. WWE was put in a bad spot, but they luckily had like their training center to fall back on where they could tape TV. I don't know. Did you watch any of those like Raws or SmackDowns or anything like that?
Little bits.
They're pretty rough to watch, right?
Sure. Well, I mean, you'd see the fans like on the TV. I thought that was cool.
I mean, the NBA did it. I know Major League Baseball did it and stuff like that. So like they kind of took a little piece of that and they kind of put it in their pro wrestling modernized sense and things like that. But it was.
I think it's cool. Everybody could keep going the way they would just have to keep going.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what I maybe it's just because I've been a spoiled wrestling fan over the years, but it was better to have that wrestling than have no wrestling at all. Even though it was rough. Even though it was
100%.
rough, it was better to have that than no wrestling at all.
100%. I mean, kudos to all the companies and the wrestler. I can't imagine
trying to perform in front of nobody. That's rough.
On the wrestlers.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you know if people like what you did?
Yeah.
You can't hear like a chat.
Yeah, you can't hear.
Hear the guy who's on the screen behind you, right?
Well, they would pipe in the crowd noise so
that
that the guys could hear it. But in the beginning, they didn't. All you heard was fucking guys smacking the mat, running the ropes, and you didn't get that visceral reaction that you're supposed to get when you watch wrestling when you're performing. But there'd be times too where it's like, Here's what I had a problem with wrestling, okay? This was the difference between what WWE did and what AEW did. AEW embraced the pandemic, okay? They acknowledged it on TV, even to the point where if a wrestler tested positive for COVID, they would tell you he wasn't going to be in the scheduled match because he tested positive for COVID. Meanwhile, WWE pretended like there was no such thing as a pandemic. And I think that's what hurt them, okay? And there were also times, too, where, and I'm sure you can tell by watching, a guy will come do his entrance, and he poses like there's some crowd there. Like, he would get on the ropes and just pose. Like, I get it if you pose in front of the camera, but then he would, like, hit all four corners. Like, he's making sure that he poses, and gets the reaction from all four corners, and there ain't nobody there.
So do you think it was, the back office telling him to do that?
I'm sure it was them just the way they produce TV, and, like, they're in, like, they go through the motions that way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, it's just out of habit. But then they still kept doing it, and it was like, Jesus Christ.
So how do you think an old school guy back in the day would have handled the pandemic as opposed to someone new?
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
So, like, let's say Jake the Snake. How would Jake the Snake handle the pandemic? Because I think his psychology.
I think Jake would have been all business, and you would have been captivated by what he was doing through the television screen.
He could have still rocked.
Yeah.
During the pandemic.
Yeah, I agree.
Bar none.
I agree. Someone like him, he's that good that he could. Yeah.
Bar none.
Yeah.
So, all right, going back to this match, they're both down. Atlas is up. Saba Simmons.
You can call him Tony Atlas. Oh, yeah, I don't give a shit. I forgot.
I forgot we had this on.
No.
So I've never done the watch along.
No, so
this I apologize.
So this is your first time, but you know
I'm popping my cherry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I probably should have kind of prepped you a little better. But what I try to illustrate with the listeners, and by doing these things, is by doing the watch-alongs, I try to emphasize, obviously what we're watching, people paying attention as they listen to the podcast and watch, but I try to treat it like it's just two guys watching wrestling, sitting on the couch talking and bullshit.
Cool.
That's what I try and do here.
Very cool.
Every now and then, like I said, I'll play the audio. Like I'm going to do right here for Bobby Heenan, because he's the man.
Serious. Guy's heritage is nothing to be laughed at.
No,
made fun of.
Proud of it.
Really nice job you're doing
bad,
on the
huh?
tree. Yeah, it's great.
You get a shot of the tree?
Could get
What'd I do?
a job as a decorator when you finish here, which will be
Everything's
very
tidy
shortly.
and that. Did you get me a gift?
Of course I got your gift. What's
I don't
wrong
want
with
it. I'd like to see what's in it
Right.
first.
dummy?
Is it
Remember
ticking?
what happened last time?
Is it ticking?
I don't want a gift.
Royal Rumble just around the corner, and we've got our Royal Rumble report coming.
Oh, God, I love these guys.
Oh, my
There's no two better.
No. None.
Mean Gene.
Oh, we're going to have to play the audio for this.
Remember the Fink?
Yes. The Fink was the man.
Remember, he hyped you up, too. So you had announcers, right? Commentators, and the announcer would hype you up as much as the match would.
Everybody, here we go with your Royal Rumble report. Saturday night, January the 19th, live from Miami. You can see
They
it
just
all
sold the product
on a
better.
pay-per-view basis. By the way, 3 matches added to the Royal Rumble this past week. Here we go in a tag team affair. Dusty and
still
Dustin
glued on
Rhodes,
this.
father and son, to meet $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and his bodyguard Virgil. One-on-one, the Big Boss Man squares off against the Barbarian, a member of the Bobby Heenan family. And of course, in tag team action, the new Orient Express to face the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. And as you know,
Who was the old
World
Orient
Wrestling
Express?
Federation champion, the Ultimate Warrior,
Said the
will
new
be
Orient
squaring
Express.
off against challenger Sergeant Slaughter.
Let me get back to you.
Right now, let's get comments from both the champion and challenger.
When did they bring Sheik in? Remember they brought him?
Later. Yeah.
Who is this guy?
General Adnan.
Ultimate Warrior, the War Zone has led me to you at the Royal Rumble for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. And make no mistake about it, Warrior, the title will be mine. And then I will take the title back to the Middle East before millions of people in front of a hero's welcome. And I will stand side by side with President Saddam Hussein. And I, Sergeant Ultimate Warrior, there's not a thing you can do about it. And that's an order.
Two individuals built specifically for one purpose and one purpose only, to do battle against those that are the greatest. As the World Wrestling Federation champion, I, Sergeant Slaughter, the Ultimate Warrior, am the greatest. In this battle at Royal Rumble, I bring only one weapon, the warriors that surround me.
He was a
dig
lunatic.
the biggest foxholes you shall find. You can lay in the deepest trenches, and you shall bring all the artillery you need. For as I look upon the ring as a minefield, each step you take in it brings you one step closer to your destruction.
All right, that title matchup promises to be something else on
I kind of like this
Saturday
promo. I know
night,
people have
January
knocked his
19th,
promos. I kind of
1991.
like that.
Now then, folks, let's talk
I've
about
dissected
the
them a
Royal
little
Rumble.
bit.
So
They make
very
sense.
unique.
Some of them
You've
do.
got 30
Not
of the
all of
greatest
them, but some of
superstars,
them.
the creme
I've heard
de
all
la
kinds of
creme, the
things.
who's who
Yeah.
in the World Wrestling Federation, all in the same ring on the same night at the same time in the same match. Here's what happens. Just prior to the event itself, 30 numbers are put in a hat back in the locker room area. The combatants draw the numbers out of the hat. That's the way they enter the competition. You start with 2 men, and then every 2 minutes thereafter, another man will enter the Royal Rumble. Now then, here is that very impressive list of participants in the Royal Rumble. First off, this man, the immortal Hulk Hogan.
You know something, little Hulkamaniacs? Whenever I think of 30 of the
See, I
top
still wanna
WWF
see this,
superstars,
even though I've seen
all
it.
in the ring at one time in
I
the
swear.
Royal Rumble, all fighting for themselves, each man for himself. Sometimes it makes you a little bit nervous. But then when I think about all the cards, all the letters, all the little Hulkamaniacs that got me back on my feet, and the 4 commandments, and the training, the prayers, the vitamins, and the believing in ourselves, I realize this is our chance to prove Hulkamania is going to live forever, and it's the
This is after
strongest force in
Earthquake.
the WWF. What's it going to do when Hulkamania rumbles over you?
Also in the Royal Rumble, Texas Tornado, the Warlord, Shane Douglas, Mr. Perfect, Bushwhacker Butch, Superfly, Jimmy Snuka.
I didn't realize Shane Douglas was in the WWE.
Briefly.
1990.
Briefly,
And this
yeah.
man with manager, Brother Love, the Undertaker.
Take a look at this man, brothers and sisters. Boy, does he look like he has
Brother Love
any
is awesome.
friends. He only has foes. What does the Royal Rumble mean to you, Undertaker?
29 more plots to dig.
Joining the Undertaker will be the Honky Tonk Man, Bret the Hitman Hart, Haku, British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, on the Legion of Doom, Animal, all Roma for
Taker
Power
was
and Glory,
huge then,
Yeah.
too.
Saba
There's your
Simba,
boy, Tony Atlas.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and from Demolition, both men could be they'll end up beating each other, smash and crush.
The Royal Rumble. That means you pick a number and you take a chance on fighting 29 other bad dudes.
The luck of the draw. All men fight for the same
Miss
prize.
Axe.
Every man
Huh?
for
I
himself.
miss Axe.
Axe?
Crush and Smash or Axe and Smash. Was a demolition.
Morning to the Royal Rumble, Jim the Anvil Knight.
I'll answer that in a minute.
Rick Martel, Rick the Hammer Valentine, Nino Bravo, from the Legion of Doom, Hawk, from Power and Glory, Hercules, Jake the Snake
There you go.
Lawrence, Bushwhacker Luke, Macho King,
yeah,
Randy Savage, and this man, 7'4", 520
Whoa, wait a
pounds,
minute.
Andre the Giant.
I didn't remember him being in
Man,
this.
oh man alive, what an impressive lineup for the Royal Rumble. Saturday night, January the 19th, 1991. By the way, folks, you can see it all on a pay-per-view basis.
I don't remember him being in that Rumble either. I think this was when he tried to make a comeback,
Okay.
and like Vince was telling him like, no, you're
Because of the back.
because of his back and his health and everything. To answer your question, I liked all three I like the 3 version of Demolition. Everyone loves Axe and Smash, and everyone thinks Smash and Crush was a shitty version, and I can understand why. But
Not shitty.
But I was into the 3-man version. I liked that they had a third
was
guy.
very cool.
I thought that was cool, you know, and I thought that it left open opportunities. I wouldn't have minded seeing Axe still stick around. I know he got hurt and he couldn't wrestle anymore, and I think his contract was up, and they ended up not re-signing him. But Yeah, I wouldn't have mind seeing Axe been like the mouthpiece for them and keep the Demolition name going, but have Smash and Crush as the team. You know, but I'm not upset with Mr. Fuji in that role either.
Do you remember they even put the extra action figures out too?
I do, dude.
I remember buying. So that was good marketing.
I have them in the case.
That was good marketing too, because I had Axe and Smash, and then I had to buy it again for Axe and Crush.
Smash and Crush, yeah.
Smash and Crush.
Yep. Axe and Smash were sold as singles, and then they sold Smash and Crush as a tag team with the helmets.
Yeah.
So listen to this, okay? While we're on that subject here, right? So I bought, over the years. Since I've started this podcast, I've become a big action figure collector with all those Hasbros in the case over there, right? So
you have been for a long time.
Well, no, I didn't have any of these for a while, but when I was younger, I did. When I was younger, but then I gave them all up when I heard of this thing called Pussy, and
I think we all did, yeah.
Yeah. So there is this pink thing that came into my life when I was a teenager, and that was when my toys went away. Anyhow, the action figures. So I would get like Demolition, right? And I bought like a couple of them. I bought like Crush by itself. But then I was like, well, I got to find the helmets for them, the accessories, the little rubber helmets. Sure. So I find some guy like on Instagram that sells some of this stuff, right? I was like, how much for the helmets? He's like, all three? I was like, yeah. He's like, $100. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
For the little rubber things?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So I ended up finding a guy that sold me. I bought one helmet for like $15, and then another guy sold me like two helmets for like $30. Wow. So I ended up getting all the helmets. Like, yeah, that's how much my obsession with collecting has become. But I wasn't paying no $100 for fucking 3 helmets, like Demolition Hasbro helmets. That was bullshit.
So the action figures when we were kids were only about $6.
$6 or $7, yeah.
$7.
But like the value in them now, it's unreal what you'd be able to find them for on the secondary market. Like I'm telling you, like it's nuts. Like without the box, they call them the card.
Yeah.
Like depending on who it is and what series it is, like you could probably find like series 1 that's up on the top shelf. I mean like $10, $15 a piece. And then as you go higher and higher in the series that aren't as available as much, like a Yokozuna goes for like a $65.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's nuts. Seeing Power and Glory here against 2 helpless souls that drew the number to face them. Power and Glory.
Spoiler alert. I think Power and Glory is going to win.
I think so too. I would bet my paycheck on it. Yeah, Power and
Slick.
Yeah.
Doctor Style.
Slick was the man.
Bring back Slick. He was great.
They brought him back every once in a while for like little cameos. Yeah. Oh no, I liked Slick. What did you think of Power and Glory as a team? As 9-year-old Dean Yalanis, what did you think of Power and Glory as a team?
I liked Power and Glory.
Like you liked to watch them, or you liked that? Like
I like to watch
favorites?
them, and then when one of my favorites like Demolition or LOD, I'd like to see them lose.
Okay.
To LOD.
All right. So
I liked them.
Were they believable to you as a kid?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Hercules was like massive.
Okay.
So yeah, I believed Hercules could destroy somebody.
Okay. So do you remember that one SummerSlam when Roma and Hercules beat up the Rockers and they injured Shawn Michaels? I believe you let me borrow that tape.
Absolutely. I
okay.
remember that.
Like that was when I felt like they were, like as a kid, I was like they were real, they were legitimate because they beat up my team, the Rockers.
Yeah.
Now
the chain to Michael's leg.
Yeah.
Right. That was
outside
the fall
of
of the Rockers, right?
Yep. That was the beginning. When the downfall came of the Rockers. But now the narrative has been, especially with Paul Roma, since he was a 4 horseman, everyone looked at that as a flop, that Power and Glory was a nothing tag team.
I didn't think they were nothing tag team. I liked them.
I thought they were legit.
I think, okay, so Paul Roma and Herc in singles competition or as a tag team, which one do you like better?
Power and Glory or singles?
Power and Glory.
Power and Glory? Huh.
I wasn't the biggest Hercules fan as a singles, but as a team, like I like their finish. Like this is a great finish. I think this is coming up right now. He's gonna set him up for the tag. And do you remember this finish?
No.
Okay, so Hercules is gonna superplex him, and Roma's gonna do a.
Oh, I do remember.
It's like a combo at the same time. This is a cool finish.
This is
very underrated.
Badass finish. Oh, good night.
Oh, and he's got to cover him with one foot. I just saw Paul Roma recently a couple of years ago.
Cool.
I went to a food truck festival in town.
Okay.
And they had like a little a couple of pro wrestling matches there. I didn't even know it. I was just walking by and I see these guys setting up a ring and I'm like, "What's this?"
Cool.
And they were like, "Yeah, it's a Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, which happens to be the indie company that Paul Roma owns."
Oh, cool.
So he's a local in Connecticut, in like
didn't
the
know
New Haven, East Haven
didn't
type
know that.
area. So I saw him moving around. He's in decent shape for his age, but he looked like he had trouble moving around. Like wrestling had kind of beaten his body up a little bit, and he did not.
Understandable.
But he did not look happy to be there. But then again, on that day, it was humid, hot out. Like it was nasty and disgusting. And I don't know how anybody could have wanted to wrestle in that heat. Here we go. Let's play the audio once again for Gorilla and Bobby.
That stuff alone.
These aren't ornaments for the tree.
What are they?
Mike McGurk's earrings.
Will you be serious? You could have had all that stuff hung already.
How do you like these up?
I can see you hung on a tree somewhere.
I gotta test the bulbs. Will you help me?
Sure, absolutely. I'm good at that.
Do I have any
electrical stuff.
presents?
Of course.
I have a present for you.
They're right under here. I have a present, too, for our special friend, Sean Mooney, in the event center later on. A Merry Christmas to you, Sean.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas to you too, Gorilla. And even you, Bobby Heenan. Well, I know of a Christmas present the entire family can share. It's the Royal Rumble. It's all happening Saturday night, January 19th. And all you have to do is pick up the telephone, call your local cable system, and place your order. 30 superstars of the WWF involved, each man on his own. There are no allies. Right now, let's hear from some of the
Mooney did his
participants,
thing.
beginning with the Hart Foundation, the Hitman, and the
He was good.
Mooney did
The
his thing.
Royal Rumble, the luck of the draw, where endurance is everything. Hitman.
Great team.
Yeah, well, I feel real.
Yeah,
real
Hart
lucky.
Foundation was
There's
legit.
gonna be 30 fresh men. There's gonna be a fresh man hitting that ring every 2 minutes. And it's gonna be a dog fight. It's gonna be a fight to the finish. It's gonna be a Royal Rumble, right, Anvil? Yeah, baby, yeah! It's the Royal Rumble, baby! Oh, a lot of excitement. It's a big event. And the bottom line, you said it. Everyone's on its own. When we see the Hurt Group and it's only a figure speech. Go where we're at. We're together. And Hogan and Tugboat, we're gunning for you. Whatever it takes to win it.
January 19th. It's the World
Ooh, look at
Wrestling
this.
Federation's
Shane
big
Douglas.
Royal Rumble. I've said from
remember
the very
him
start,
being-
from day one,
I don't either.
that in order to prove yourself, you've got to go against the very best. You find them right here in the World Wrestling Federation. I know that I can prove to the world that I belong here in the WWF.
You know,
was just
I'm not really sure you
It's so
should be in this Royal
basic
Rumble.
and generic.
I mean, you're the Intercontinental Champion. You'll probably have 29 guys gunning for you. But then again, you're perfect. Bobby, everybody wants to be what I am. And in the Royal Rumble, you're getting an opportunity to face Mr. Perfect. And I'll show you that I am what I say I am. And I say, I'm perfect.
Mr. Perfect, the new Intercontinental Champion, set for action, but titles will not matter in the Royal Rumble.
You know what I used to love about those? The green screen in the background with their logos.
Yeah.
That shit is so cool. I think that that's something they could still do, or like they do it like in a modernized version with like the LED. Like if they were in the back and they had like an LED board. Because here's one thing that insults my intelligence about wrestling, okay? They'll do a skit in the locker room or the backstage vignette where they'll have like one or two guys back there sitting in the locker room and they got like their duffel bag, but then like you see like their t-shirt hanging from one locker and then the same t-shirt hanging from the, like they have like 5 or 6 different versions of their t-shirts hanging from the locker room as a way to advertise or market their merchandise. How vain are you that you have to hang up your fucking t-shirt with your name on it on every hook in the locker room and not leave space for other people to get dressed in the locker room?
That's pretty screwed up.
You know what I mean?
That's really, really screwed up.
Like,
Why do you need 5 t-shirts?
yeah, why do you need 5 different
That's just a
t-shirts to
straight up
advertise
cash
yourself?
in.
Yeah. I mean, I used to...
Okay, we're totally those guys like back in our day. Back in our day.
Yeah, I know. That's what we're doing right now. That's
Back in our day.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Wrestlers like only have one t-shirt, right?
If
you
that.
gotta, like mow lawns to get a t-shirt.
Oh, I know. Or get a foam finger. Like a Hulk Hogan foam finger.
Never did the foam finger.
I thought you had a Hulk Hogan foam finger.
No, I got the shirt, but like
Yep.
I ripped the shirt.
Yep, same with me.
It didn't last.
Yep,
at
same
all,
with me.
very long. And I had the bandana.
Yep, I remember you had
I
the
never
bandana.
had the foam finger.
I remember you had the bandana. What do we got here? Big Boss Man.
Oh, the man.
With the ball and chain.
I thought he moved. I remember as a kid thinking, holy shit, how does he move like that?
Yeah.
Pardon my language.
No. I cuss all the time. Don't worry about it.
Where's the nightstick? What's with the ball?
That's what I'm curious about.
Bring me the nightstick.
Where is the nightstick? Maybe they were trying to. Maybe they're trying to market some other piece of merchandise for the kids, because they used to sell those foam nightsticks, and the baseball cap. I used to have that hat that country bumpkin is wearing on top of his head.
Early 2000s, Bossman. I thought his outfit was way cooler.
Like the tactical gear. Yeah. When he came back and he joined the corporation with Vince. Yeah, I thought that was a better setup.
Spoiler alert, I think the Bossman is going to beat this Enhancement Talent.
Yeah, I think Pete Sanchez doesn't stand a chance.
Oh, leg on the rope.
Yeah. I used to think that was cooler than when he would slide under the rope and then give the guy the uppercut.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I used to think that was cool too.
This guy moved. So, see the screen on screen?
Yep.
I wish they would bring this back, and then they would still sell other events. Like,
sometimes
for me, it got me so into it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, like earlier, you were talking about when Mean Gene did the Royal Rumble report.
The best.
How you wanted to watch the Royal Rumble. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, it had to be pretty cool. You know, like the way that they sold it, like in studio like that. Nowadays, when it comes to the announcers,
they don't sell it. To me, they don't sell it.
All right, they sell it, but I feel like there's no individuality with the announcers. They don't allow the announcers to be themselves and sell it in their way. It's like it's very micromanaged. It's very rehearsed. You know, sure. I don't feel like the announcers are calling the action. I feel like the announcers are being. I mean, they're overproduced.
Now, well, maybe something that we haven't thought of too is when we were watching back in the day, it was still a private company.
Yep.
Now
it's a publicly traded company. Yeah.
Do you think that has something to do with it?
I'm sure of it. I'm sure that being a publicly traded company, that they've had to change a lot of things about their programming. I mean, they went to being strictly PG for a number of years because they had received a huge endorsement with Mattel for their toys, and I think the timing of the Chris Benoit thing, and I think a lot of different factors played into it. But what's he going to do here with this ball and chain?
So Bossman won.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, if you were betting your paycheck, pal, you'd have doubled up.
All right, so he's doing the ball and chain. Okay, what exactly is he going to do with this?
I don't know. Is he going to?
I missed the nightstick.
Ram the ball into his.
He's going to ram it.
What's he doing there?
Oh, he's going to ram it.
I don't remember this.
I don't remember this either. Oh! Ball and chain to the gut.
Oh, Pete Sanchez.
And Pete just got a ball to the gut.
Yeah. That was great color commentator analysis from you, my friend.
Not so much, but thank you.
No, I can appreciate it.
Ball to the gut.
Replay of the ball to the gut spot, because that was the high spot of the match. That's what everybody wanted to see at the end of the day. Back to Gorilla and Bobby here on this Christmas edition of Primetime Wrestling. Thanks to Nick Opalewski. Thank you also very much for tuning in, listening, and watching this watch-along here with us as we play the audio for Gorilla and Bobby in studio.
Thank you for being patient on my first watch-along.
Yes, you're doing a great job, by the way.
Sure. He said he
all me you want if you get through Barbarian.
Right through to Barbarian.
Want to know where I'm going to be this week?
No, but you're going to tell us anyway.
That's right. Wednesday I'm going to be in Providence. Thursday I'll be in Portland, Maine. Friday I'll be in Hershey. Saturday I'll be in Richfield and Cincinnati. And Sunday,
coming up
Toledo and Lansing. Along with his manager,
it's beautiful. Those dudes could sell.
Yep.
Guest this week,
Sell.
The Undertaker.
Another one who could sell.
Mean Gene.
Brother Love introduced me.
Remember the Undertaker when he first came out?
I shook his hand and it was ice cold.
We all thought he was legit dead. Okay, we were all scared of him. You know, I remember.
Remember the Warrior?
Yeah, when he locked the Warrior in the casket.
It was like, oh,
yeah.
Man.
Oh, I know. It was wild stuff. I mean, it was wild stuff. This is before the Paul Bearer era, before they switched it over. And Brother Love was his manager.
Brother Love was cool too.
I've heard
he just had to do other things.
Yeah, he was working behind the scenes, and he didn't want to. If he was going to manage Undertaker, it was requiring being full time on the road.
Gotcha.
So, he switched that up here.
I thought Paul Bearer was a great addition.
Oh, Paul Bearer made it. Paul Bearer made the character. I mean,
Yeah.
The urn, the face. He looked like fucking Gomez Addams from the Addams Family. He had that like dark element. He was also a licensed mortician in real life, so that helped. You know,
I think they should bring back Brother Love.
They've had Brother Love do some cameos every once in a while. You know, like on like a Legends reunion of Raw or something like that.
Forget the cameos. Bring back some of the old guys and teach some of the new guys. What
I
time it is?
Yeah, I know, right?
Because I mean, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
This old school WWF or WWE, whatever. There's so much.
You can call it WWF.
There's so much charisma on here from these people.
Yep.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I'm not knocking the new guys. I think there's a lot of cool new guys too. But I just don't think it's. Again, I can't separate if it's because I was a kid watching.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm an adult now watching a product, which doesn't hold me. So maybe if it was 7-year-old me, 6-year-old me watching a new product, maybe I would be that. Do you think you would be that excited?
I think there are kids that can be that excited. I know that like. All right, so
no, but like, okay, so we can go back in time to watch today's wrestling. We're 5, 6 or 7 years old. Okay. Mm-hmm. Would you get so excited as we did back then?
I think so.
We both used to jump.
I think so. I think we could. And the only reason why I think we could is because we don't have those other elements to distract us, like the internet and having all that information at your fingertips.
No. So we can go back in today's time.
So if we
go back
if we were 6 years old watching wrestling today.
In 2021.
Yeah, I think there could be certain elements of it where I would get really excited for, you know? Like, for instance, so here's a great example. Last couple of years I've gone to different shows, and last WWE show I went to, I think, was Money in the Bank, when they came to Hartford. And there's still little kids that, like, you know, will buy the Rey Mysterio mask. And you still see little kids that, like, get into it with, like, you know, John Cena, even though John Cena wasn't there on that show. Like, you still see that, like, there's still... That's what I was when I was their age. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, I think it's still very possible, you know? I don't think across the board I'd be going crazy over it, but I'm sure I'd have my favorites.
Sure. I mean, I think no doubt it's marketing to
Who's that
younger
schlep
people.
there? Never seen him before.
In the ring?
Yeah, not Haku, the ring announcer.
I don't know who that guy is. Where's the Fink? Give me the Fink. I want the Fink. Who is that guy?
I don't know.
Did they say?
No.
Turn it up. Who is he?
I'll put on the audio.
Well, it's no wonder why I didn't ask one.
Really?
Who is this ring announcer?
The adversary is from the Fiji Islands, and it is taking place right here in London Gardens in Ontario, Canada. In London, Ontario.
He's probably a local guy from Canada, like you just said, London, Ontario.
Yeah, he's probably in what? One of the leagues up there. Is it one of their guys?
He's probably a local guy from Canada.
That's cool.
Because sometimes they used to run a lot of shows, like 2 or 3 the same, you know, two sometimes 3 shows in the same day.
I saw in a podcast, I guess it was Hogan, saying they had A-Team, B-Team.
Yep.
So this could have been a B-Team.
This could have been a B-Team show, yeah.
This is a hell of a show for a B-Team show, though. Come on, Superfly versus Haku?
Sorry, so these are different matches that were taped in various locations that they throw together for primetime wrestling.
But I mean, if you were sitting down watching primetime wrestling, this is good stuff. So this isn't even all enhancement talent.
No, you get I mean, we
so
saw
why
Saba
couldn't you
Simba
do that today and bring back 1 or 2 enhancement guys, maybe 3, and then have Star.
So I think that's where at times you could be labeled as insulting the intelligence of the audience. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, would it be great to further enhance a debuting star by having an enhancement talent make them look good? Absolutely. Okay? Without running the risk of hurting someone else, per se, like a name established talent.
Sure.
But at the same time, I think if you were to bring back the enhancement talents on a regular basis, I feel like the fans would kind of call bullshit on it. And be like, they already know what's coming. They already know that this guy is a big deal. He's going to mow through this dude. He's going to mow through 4 other guys in the next few weeks. And then they're going to finally put him up against someone with some kind of credibility.
Just, I mean, on my side, I think it would be cool for the superstar, and I think it would be cool even for the enhancement talent to get his shot, though, too.
I agree.
We all got to pay someone.
I agree to some extent.
I think the audience could be cool with that.
I think also too. Like,
I think they would understand that too.
If you watch some of WWE in the last few years, there are guys who are treated as enhancement talent, but with characters. You know, Zack Ryder, Heath Slater. You know, they had some characters, and
so the thing was just to lose.
They were pretty much in a sense enhancement talent, but with bigger personalities and with and with entrance music. You know what I mean?
That's kind of cool.
But I think most people look at them and it's like, oh, well, they look at them on the surface and say, oh, well, they're a character. They have a gimmick. Why can't they do something meaningful with them instead of having this guy job to, you know, X, Y, and Z?
Sure.
You know? I think because they look like a star, that fans get upset when they start losing so much or doing the favors to so many different guys. Sure. You know?
Do you remember when Barry Horowitz broke through that?
Yes.
That was awesome.
SummerSlam 1995 against Skip of the Body Donis. He broke his undefeated... Yeah, for a little bit.
I remember that.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy.
Right?
But at the same time, it was also something that, like, we
never saw.
We never saw it. It was also something that, like, we
never saw.
We never saw it, but we also knew who he was because we had seen him every week get his ass kicked on TV for so many years.
So, like... I liked seeing him win. I was like,
it was a cool deal.
I didn't know his name until he won.
Yeah.
Right? And I still remember his name because I remember.
And then, you know, the old pat on the back gimmick, you know, he would do. You know what's funny, too? I've watched shows, like old episodes of, like, Superstars, and he'd be on. And then the same night, WCW would do, like, a Saturday night show.
And he would be on?
And he'd be on that show, too.
Nice.
Like... Barry Horowitz got fucking paid. You know? He did whatever he had to do. He got fucking paid. If that meant he was working 3 shows and for 3 different companies a night, he was doing it.
Paid.
But yeah, he got paid. There.
So I heard that Haku is like one of the toughest people to ever walk the earth.
Yes, actually. Yes. There's if you YouTube or Google like Haku, like classic Haku stories. Or like bar fights or something. No, he's nuts. Like he's legitimately nuts.
But I've seen shoots. He seems like he's like the nicest guy.
Yeah, but like, they say he's the toughest dude there ever was in wrestling. Him and Harley Race.
Oh.
Him and Harley Race, they say, are the 2 toughest guys to have ever, you know. And you knew there was one story I heard. I don't remember who told the story, but somebody got into it in a bar with a fan years and years ago. This is when they would, you know, this is when they were still trying to portray like wrestling was real. Like the good guys travel with the good guys, the bad guys travel with the bad guys. So I guess like some fan told one of the guys that like, oh, it's fake, you're a bunch of phonies, you know. Like a group of guys.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
No, you shouldn't have trouble hearing me, bitch. I wasn't talking to you. And this happens all the time. I'm stupid. I shouldn't even be wearing this during this because it always goes off. But I guess one of the guys, you know, stepped up and said something to one of the fans said something to a wrestler, and they crowded him, and literally Haku came in and wasted all of them. Like it was like 4 or 5 guys. Wasted them all. Like not even like, you know, batting an eyelash.
Well,
like.
I mean, there's no reason to be an asshole. And so, like, if you're going up to a wrestler blatantly being an asshole, I feel you deserve the ass kicking that's coming to you.
Pretty much.
And hopefully you didn't sue the guy.
Pretty much.
You know? I mean, really, like, why people find the need to go out of their way to be an asshole, I have no idea.
They say he's one of the nicest guys, but you get on his bad side, you might as well just, you know, dug your own grave legitimately because he'll hurt you.
But, I mean, even, like, I'm sure he's, like, a major badass, could destroy people, but I mean, what does, like, I wouldn't conduct myself like an asshole.
You gotta take into account too, they were in a bar, so
Sure, but
I'm not saying it's right, but people are gonna have a few drinks. They're gonna get beer muscles. People are gonna have a few drinks. They're gonna get beer muscles, and all of a sudden think that they can this phony wrestler's on TV, and then one thing leads to another, and then
of course. But I mean, people should probably try and conduct themselves better. And
I'm sure of it.
I'm happy to hear that Haku kicked the crap out of them.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you'll find somebody's got every shoot interview you watch. Somebody's got a Haku story, or somebody's got an Iron Sheik story.
Sure. I remember as a fan, as a kid, taking shit from people. Why do you like that stuff?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's why
fans got it too.
Fans
got it too.
That's why, like, when I would go to my grandmother's house on the weekends, and because you used to live around the corner from her, I didn't have to worry about that because you loved wrestling just as much as me.
It was like such a relief, dude.
It
was like, oh my god.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, he's got all the toys I don't have. Like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, and vice versa.
He's got SummerSlam on tape. I didn't see that SummerSlam. Like, it was wild.
Yeah, it was totally wild. And fast forward, I don't even want to do the math, but
no, we'll let the listeners do the math. But
it's basically that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's been
so it's like
31.
Yeah, the first initial hit of our friendship was over wrestling.
Yeah.
Right?
It was.
That's cool.
I don't even, like, it's funny because I told the story on the couple episodes ago, and I didn't remember how we actually met. I thought maybe
Kristen.
I didn't realize that. I thought we met through, like, we were riding bikes, and like I
was riding bikes. You would cut through your grandma's backyard, and then we were talking.
See, wow, that's crazy that you even remember that, because I don't.
Yeah.
I just knew that we met, and then like we found out that we both liked wrestling, and then that was the end of it.
And looking back, we were both probably like, "Hey, who's this guy?" Talking to Kristen, right? You were probably like, "Who's this guy?"
She was just the neighbor that lived behind my grandmother. It wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't think it that far through either. But
yeah, but
I was just happy, like.
And then, because there was not a lot of young people in the neighborhood, I was like, "Oh my god, there's someone I can play with."
Yeah. And I was there like every weekend, visiting my grandmother.
Kind of amazing, actually.
So
I would wait. I would ride my bike to your grandmother's house, and she'd be like, "He's not here yet. He's coming."
Yep.
I'd ride again. Is he here yet, honey? He's not here yet.
And then I get there,
and then you blow up my phone over, and I'm like, "Yo, they're right there!" Hop on the bike, like jet down the hill like a million miles an hour.
Oh yeah, I remember it.
Sometimes ride my bike through Kristen's yard.
Yep.
I don't think her parents like that too much.
No, I don't think they did either. But
like as a kid, like I apologize if they're listening. I'm sorry. That'd
be funny as hell.
And I really just should have went to the stop sign and like made the right. I really should have.
Yeah, it's okay.
Snooker
with the win. I didn't think Snooker was getting the win. I thought for sure Haku was.
Yeah, but that's a lame win because he rolled him up in a fucking package instead of jumping off the top rope. Dude, you're Snooker. I want to see you jump off the top rope.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Interesting that you brought that up because,
Watch. See? Rolls him up.
1, 2. Well, Haku's shoulder was definitely up when that ref made that count.
Yeah, he was definitely up.
Now, would we be talking like this at 7 years old watching this match? Would you be like, you know what, you were disappointed because Jimmy Snuka didn't jump off the top rope?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
Okay.
But looking back now, like, I want to see you fly off the top rope.
Okay. Yeah. I get it. I get it.
And I probably would have said, I remember when Warrior beat Hogan, I remember thinking to myself, no, he kicked out.
Yep.
I totally thought he kicked out.
That was I think that was one of the first instances that I remember. Oh, speaking of Brother Love, let's play the audio for this.
Oh, let's definitely play Brother Love.
I loved Brother Love.
Dusty.
That's right, baby.
Is Dustin still doing it?
Yeah, he wrestles for AEW.
AEW? Cool.
Yeah.
What is he wrestling as?
Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin Rhodes?
But he does like half face paint, like similar to Gold Dust, but with like red and blue and...
He made you an offer of a lifetime, offered you
Let me tell you something, you red-faced pumpkin head. I'm here to talk about bonds. A bond between a father and a son, Ted DiBiase and Virgil, cannot be bought, baby. Cannot be bought, baby. I'm here to tell you that every time you bring my blood out here and you talk to him, you never let him say nothing. Well, I'm here tonight, and he's got something to say to you. Tell him, blood. Ted DiBiase, Virgil, blood is thicker than water. And the blood in my father's body is the same blood that flows through my veins. Now, the Royal Rumble, Ted DiBiase, Virgil, Palace, the Rose family is coming to get you. Let me say one other thing about Ted DiBiase. Let me say one other thing about Virgil. Let me say one other thing about people buying people off. Let me say one other thing about dirty money. Let me say one other thing about the evil that money can do. DiBiase, Virgil, you can't buy this common family, baby.
What a promo. You know what I hated, though? I didn't realize this as a kid, but Dustin Rhodes had that, like, accent and that lisp like his father, and he doesn't talk like that at all. That was like trying to be too much like Dusty.
Yeah, I mean, he was still new, though. I get it.
Trying to establish himself with the names.
I get it.
Figure, get the accent, you know.
I definitely get it. I think he didn't really step into his own until Goldust.
Well, Goldust, yeah.
You know?
Goldust put him over the fucking top right there.
I remember him in WCW, too.
Yeah, when he did singles in WCW and then he was a tag with, like, Barry Windham. Yeah. Like, those were some good stuff.
I liked Dustin as a kid, you know? I mean, I think in any career you're trying to establish yourself, you know?
I didn't have a problem with him. That was the only issue I had with him, like, now, was that I could see why he had trouble succeeding is because he sounded too much like his father.
I have to shoot.
But as time went on,
I have to shoot you completely straight. I remember Dustin Rhodes and his Dusty Rhodes.
Yep.
I don't remember the way he spoke until I just saw that right now.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Oh, we're already getting into the action here. Playboy Buddy Rose and the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith.
All right, he's tapping out. He's totally he's totally tapping out.
That's a tap out right there. But in wrestling, they didn't recognize that.
Okay. Davey just totally...
I think because MMA were the ones that really implemented the tap out into wrestling. Because remember when a guy used to be in a submission hold and he would crawl to the rope and he would tap on the mat just to get the crowd behind him? You do that now, they fucking ring the bell.
Absolutely. Playboy Buddy Rose is in great shape.
Phenomenal. I want his diet plan.
I don't.
Yeah. I'm not trying to disparage the dead here. Him nor Davey Boy.
But, no, I mean the guy's in great shape. You know.
Really?
No,
not at all.
And Davey, you know that's all natural.
Oh, Davey? Oh yeah, you kidding me? You know how many push-ups he had to do to look like that?
That's all natural.
You know?
Well, Playboy's all natural too.
Yeah. All natural foods at the buffet.
No. Okay, here's like Playboy Buddy Rose would never make it today, but he was over in other leagues.
Yep.
He was big time over.
AWA?
He was big time over.
Yeah.
How did he get over back then, too?
I don't think he lasted with WWF for very long.
No, but he still had his mark in other federations.
Yeah, I know like AWA, he was a I wouldn't say a big deal, but he was...
Big enough.
He had a significant run there.
Big enough.
Was he a part of the... he was a part of the tag team with... he was AWA Tag Team Champion with Doug Summers when they used to wrestle the Rockers. There's a famous match that took place on ESPN with Playboy Buddy Rose and Doug Summers against the Rockers for the AWA Tag Team titles.
I mean, not for nothing. Like, granted, he's not in good shape, but he's in good shape enough to wrestle. That can't be easy.
There are some vignettes that he did in WWF at this time, where he was almost kind of taking his weight issues and using it in the story where he where he talked about he was a heel, so of course heels lie. So he would say he had this gimmick where it was called the blow away diet, where he took this powder in this bag and he fucking rubbed it all over his stomach and his chest, and then he would blow it off, and he would make it look like he would make it appear, at least in his mind, that this powder will make you look like he does with the physique. And so people used to shit on it because they called
he got over.
They called bullshit. But yeah, it briefly got over. But
he got over. Good for him. I miss like how, like every wrestler's in phenomenal shape.
Yep.
Right. I'm missing the different guys though. It is
kind
of cool.
I do too.
It is kind of cool seeing this dude, like, who's granted he's not in wrestling shape of today's standard at all. Dusty Rhodes would not have been.
No.
But they'd call it out. No one cared.
Yeah.
Why is every guy looking like, he's living at GNC?
Yeah, I know.
Same thing.
I wish we saw different guys' shapes and sizes. Yeah. I'm with you there. They have a few of those in WWE, but not as many as it used to be back in the day.
Bray Wyatt was the first, right? And then all of a sudden he got really jacked.
Yeah, now they got this guy. Now they got this guy named Otis. Otis was like this like hacksaw Jim Duggan goofy kind of character, but he was bulky. Now they've kind of changed him up a little bit. He's still got the same look, but he's a bad guy now.
And now he's gonna hit the gym and he's gonna look like everyone else.
I don't know if that's what they're going with him, or if he's just like this big monster to like be like the almost like Vader.
Gotcha.
In a sense, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, you had guys in all different shapes and sizes.
I miss the big guys.
Like Vader.
I miss the,
Yeah. Like the guys that were like, heavy set and round. Like, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think what had them go in a different direction when it came to that was Yokozuna's health in the 90s.
Gotcha.
I think Yokozuna's health was one of the reasons why they decided to steer away from the big guys like that.
Sure.
Because Yokozuna's health was just out of control. They sent him to rehab. They sent him to like a food clinic, a diet clinic, all that shit. And nothing ever worked. The boy just liked to eat. So I'm guessing, and I could be wrong. I'm sure that there's other reasons behind it, but I'm guessing that Yokozuna's health issues were a major reason.
Gotcha. I miss the feeling of like, even as a kid, you'd be like, well, I know it's fixed, but that guy, I wouldn't mess with him. Like, that guy could beat me up. Like, I miss that feeling.
Yeah, I had that feeling.
Like,
yeah.
You know
who was one of those guys that used to do that for me?
Who's that?
Sid.
Yeah.
Sid used
the ruler of the world.
Sid. The master and the ruler of the world. I used to be scared of him.
I was scared of Haku as a kid.
I wasn't. Maybe just because he wasn't...
As Mang?
Oh, as Mang?
He freaked me out, dude.
I was a teenager back then, so that was by the point where...
Nah, we weren't teenagers yet. When he was in WCW?
Maybe.
We were not teenagers yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, we were not teenagers yet.
But anyhow, yeah, Sid was the guy that I was like...
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
I remember seeing Mang, thinking to myself, I would not F with that dude.
No.
Davey Boy with the win, like we didn't know he was going to.
I'm shocked.
I know, right?
I'm shocked.
What we got here, Bobby and Gorilla?
What is it?
I burned myself.
You burned yourself. It's only about 6 or 8 volts you got there, Brain.
6,000 volts through every bulb.
6,000. Give me a break here, will you?
We're going to fry everybody at San Quentin today with that.
This is the holiday season, Brain. It's time to be happy and thankful and joyful and giving. I got good news for my friend
Kyle.
Sean Mooney in the event center. Brain was telling me earlier on that he is thinking of giving you something special, perhaps underneath your Christmas tree, or perhaps in it, you might find the Barbarian. Wouldn't that be nice? You can...
Enough volts to fry everyone in San Quentin.
Remember
That's
the
funny.
Heenan family?
The Heenan family, yeah.
That was like classic.
Yeah.
And he wanted to be a broadcast journalist. It was a big deal.
Heenan had, I mean, let's go through the list of who Heenan had in his family.
Andre.
King Kong Bundy. Big Haku. Barbarian. Big John Studd.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Till he got the coach. I never understood that. Remember the
Well, that was when Heenan...
Briefly, when he went into broadcast and the coach came out.
And then the coach came out.
Get that character.
But that was when Perfect, I think... Yeah, the coach was... it was all right.
That was John Tolos.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Till recently.
John Tolos, yep. Tugboat. Toot toot. I waited for weeks for Tugboat to read my letter on the air. My get well letter that I wrote to Hulk Hogan. And he didn't. I didn't hold any animosity towards him because I got a free Hulk Hogan friendship bracelet, but...
That's cool.
Yeah. Look at the shape he's in. That's not natural either, is it?
Definitely not natural.
Holy cow.
Superfly was ripped, huh?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's not natural.
No, not in the slightest bit. Jesus. Look at the veins popping out.
I mean, you can get stuff just regular at GNC that can almost give you that look too, but...
Yeah?
Yeah. Why do that? Unless you need it. You know, unless you're like a fighter, a wrestler, actor for some role or something. Like,
I don't know.
Look like that.
No, that's...
You know, can't be good for you.
That's too much. No. Oh, God, no. Kidding
Can't
me?
be good for you.
I think that I would imagine that attributed to a lot of his health issues before he died. Other than the dementia.
Maybe dementia too.
Maybe. Who knows?
You know?
I'm not a doctor.
There was like... It doesn't look natural at all.
No.
Whatsoever.
No, not in the slightest bit. Not in the slightest bit.
Not that we're saying wrestlers have ever done steroids, but...
No, we're not saying that either.
We're not implying that.
Yeah, we're
not saying it.
Nope.
We're not implying it.
Nope.
We're just saying the guy did well in the gym.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Push-up king.
Push-up king.
Pull-ups, too.
Yep. Push-ups, pull-ups.
He won the chin
Curls.
He won the chin-up cup 2 years in a row.
Bench press.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Definitely, for sure. Because we are not doctors. What's up next? What we got here? Got Heart Foundation.
Bret Hart versus
Bart and the Demon.
Bart and the Demon.
Okay.
All right, the Demon.
This ought to be a barn burner.
Is he Enhancement? The Demon?
Probably. Yeah, I would
Demon.
imagine.
I don't remember him. Who's Bart?
I don't know who Bart was.
That's an awful name.
That is an.
What's your wrestling name? Bart.
And what's your last name? Simpson? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell?
What's your wrestling name? Bart. Really?
Bart Simpson. And the Demon.
Even Bart Gunn had a last name.
Yeah, Bart Gunn did have a
He was
last
a
name. What we got here?
badass, right?
Oh, look, it's the Mountie. Let's play this.
We have to.
What seems to be the problem,
Officer? Do I look like an officer? I'm the Mountie. And let me see your driver's license. Well, what's your problem?
I'm afraid of horses.
Oh, you're afraid of horses. Well, that's your problem. American. Georgia. Oh, here. Come on, take it. It's gonna rain. I don't have all day. Whoops. It's gonna rain. By the way, speak up. I'm not a mind reader. I'm the Mountie. Remember that. Come on, boy.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Old school.
The Mountie, yeah.
Old school.
Remember when the Mountie went to jail when the Big Boss beat him?
Yes, I do.
At SummerSlam?
I laughed my ass off.
That was great.
That was amazing.
That was some fun stuff.
Absolutely.
I don't want you to do it the New York style. I want you to do it the Mountie style. I want you to shackle his legs, handcuff him, throw him in the back of your paddy wagon. Like he was like
went off.
He was giving like the 411 to the cops on how to do their job.
And then he got it.
And then he ended up getting the same treatment. And it was hilarious. It was great stuff. It was great stuff. We're gonna have to watch that soon because the 30th anniversary of that SummerSlam is coming up, and I think that was the first pay-per-view we ever watched together. You know that? The first one we ever watched together live.
30th.
We've seen tapes and stuff. We'd go to the store and get tapes, but the first one we ever ordered together was that SummerSlam.
That's crazy.
Match made in heaven, match made in hell.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, we looked forward to that forever.
Yep. We were crawling out of our skin for that one.
Oh my god.
Yep. Watch it together. What we got here?
Look, promo on the top.
Power and Glory and the Hart Foundation.
Promoting SummerSlam, right?
I don't know if they're
did they go at each other?
No. This episode took place December 24th.
So then it was.
So
they didn't hit WrestleMania.
They didn't get to WrestleMania yet. No, but I believe that they were involved.
Remember this feud.
I don't remember much of it either, but I know that it would eventually involve the Nasty Boys.
Cool.
I think Power and Glory helped the Nasty Boys get a shot at the titles or something by beating the LOD.
They were cool.
So then they set up who?
Nasty.
The Nasties were fun.
Nasties were cool.
Yeah, the Nasties were fun.
I thought they were badass.
Yeah, they definitely they had that badass streak to them. They were good bad guys, but they were also like fun good guys. You know, they were the epitome of like how would I put it? They were like Animal House, like the movie Animal House. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were just fucking wild and crazy guys. Heart Foundation, on the other hand, one of the best tag teams of all time, in my opinion. I'm not a big.
I would agree.
I
thought they were great.
Yeah.
And he's just making quick work of Bart here. The Anvil.
Oh, I know who that is.
That guy's kind of big though.
That's
enhancement guy.
He used to be in WCW.
He looks
and he also was an enhancement guy. I also think he was in World Class. He was known as Black Bart.
Black Bart.
He had like a little cowboy gimmick, as you could tell by the boots.
Was he always enhancement?
No, I think he was like a lower
been a
card
dude.
guy. I don't know who this guy in the mask is though.
All right. Imagine if they had a league with just enhancement talent. Was that Global Wrestling?
No,
Global.
Global, I do.
Dome?
Global.
Yeah.
You know where Global? They used to tape those shows. The old Sportatorium in Dallas, where World Class was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Global was I used to watch Global in the afternoons. ESPN.
Very cool.
3 o'clock, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd come home from school. There was wrestling on during the week.
Yeah,
every
that was
day.
amazing.
You know, you didn't have to wait till the weekend.
Yeah, it was amazing.
You know, I remember very little about that promotion. I remember that. Who was in there? They had a guy by the name of, I think, Chris Walker, and he did like a Hercules gimmick or something where he had like the leopard tights or something. He was barefoot. The Patriot was from Global. I also remember Tom Pritchard used to do commentary for Global, but he did a Roddy Piper like knockoff without the kilt because he could do a good Roddy Piper impression. It was kind of silly, but
you can't. There's only one Piper.
No, exactly.
There's only one Piper.
You're right.
Come on.
Yeah, that was dumb. And it was dumb thinking that the Heart Foundation were losing this match here.
Dude,
speaking of Piper,
there he is.
Him and Honky Tonk with Vince.
We didn't plan that.
We did not. That's actually pretty good. Let's hear the commentary on this.
Hold the belts against Power and Glory. Hunter, you predict like you say. There ain't a chance.
Let's go back to the replay.
Look at this. Look at that. How are you going to beat that? Standard Hart. Come on. Look at the confidence here. There, the partner backing him up. Oh, there you go. There you got the champ.
But he took 2 of them to do it.
What the?
See, I really dig how the commentary didn't call them enhancement talent either.
No, they just focused. They just focused on the whole point was to focus on the guy in the match.
I dig that. I wish they would bring some of that.
You notice what they have there in between Bobby and Gorilla there?
The same thing.
The ring with the toys. Yeah, the same thing that's at my desk.
All right, not for nothing. I kind of want to play with your action figures.
Okay.
Here. But I'm not going to because I'm grown.
Okay.
But
I wouldn't hold it against you if you decided to.
I'm just looking at all these action figures, and I'm just saying. If I wasn't grown.
You know what the funny thing is? Do you want to know something about that?
What's that?
So,
do you ever play with them? Be honest.
So, all right, so let me tell you a story. Okay.
I totally would. When no one was looking,
I
totally would.
Hold on, I'm getting there. Gotta get to the big finish. So sometimes my laundry room's right over there. So sometimes my wife say to me, "Hey, did you turn over the laundry?" I'll be like, "Oh no, I will." So I'll go downstairs. I'll turn over the laundry, and then I'll stand in front of one of my cases over here, and I'll just start pulling a few of them out, just like holding them, and then it'll be a while, and then I'll hear, because my bedroom's right over there, I'll hear from my wife, "What are you doing down there? Looking at your men?" I'm like, "No," but I really am looking at my men.
That's fine.
But yeah, that's the closest thing I do to playing with them. I'll pull them out of the case and I'll
That's cool.
Another Royal Rumble advertisement.
Now, see,
here.
the adult me can look at them and I'm fine, right?
Yep.
If I was a kid.
Oh, they'd be all out of the case on the floor with the ring, everything. We'd have had, we'd have booked the whole year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, you even have the little carts they used to rent on.
So those just came out.
That's really cool.
Those just came out recently.
You got the little carts.
Yeah, those just came out recently. So they came out, and there was an Andre one, and so I had a Hogan figure, so I put the two of them in there together.
You got the rubber dudes, too.
And
that was kind of like before us.
Yeah.
I
collected those, too, when I was younger. I had the rubber LJNs.
You can only get those at tag sales.
You can find them at tag sales.
They didn't have them at Toys R Us.
Briefly. Them and Ames and Caldors, those stores used to have them. But, like, then they lost the license, and then the Hasbros came out, and they had the smaller ones. But those are the best ones.
Do you remember walking down Toys R Us or Ames and looking for your action figure of choice?
Yep.
It was amazing.
Oh, yeah. It was. And I used to... And I don't know what it was, but I think it was the commercials when they used to have the wrestlers playing with the figure itself.
Yeah.
And doing the action.
I remember looking for Jake the Snake forever.
That was the first one I ever got. Jake the Snake and Rick Rude were the first two ones I ever got. And then I got Hogan and I think DiBiase after that.
Yeah, and some asshole would always like open the package and steal the fake snake. So,
I'm telling you.
Find a Jake the Snake with the snake in a closed
Speaking
package.
of which, here he is, making his way down the aisle. You want to know something?
We did that again.
I know.
We didn't plan it.
We didn't even plan it. That's amazing. We might be onto something here, pal. There was a... So I bought a Jake the Snake recently. Or I wouldn't say recently. Within the last couple of years. And it didn't come with a snake. So I'm looking for a snake. I go online. I'm looking for the Hasbro. See, there it is right there.
Nice.
Right there. I'm going online. I'm looking for the snake. And sometimes I'm a part of a wrestling action figure group on Facebook called The Era. And sometimes they'll post accessories of Hasbro stuff if someone comes along and has a bunch of shit that they're going to sell. So I end up finding someone that has the snake on like eBay. And you only wanted like $15 for it. So I was like, that's mine. So when I put that, I slapped it on Jake in the case over there.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So I scared the crap out of my sister when I got the Jake the Snake with the snake.
The toy?
Yeah, and convinced her that my mom let me get a snake. And so she was in back and my mom was playing along, right? We're in like this old school station wagon, right? Of course.
Oh, look what we got
and
here.
I was like, look. It was kind of funny.
Martel? Yeah, selling in on Jake.
Yep.
Remember they had the whole thing with the arrogance?
Yep. Blinded him in the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a big deal.
And then on the Royal Rumble, they still had him with the eye. I did see that when they were running through all the guys.
Yep. I think he still got it.
How did he do that?
See, look, his eye's all messed up. The left eye.
The contact? How did they do that?
I think he did a contact.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yep.
See, going back to your storyline, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you were saying. See, he's still selling.
Yeah.
They don't... Everybody's selling on here. They're selling the product. They're selling themselves. I don't think they sell like they used to.
They don't. They don't, because they could throw a guy off a ladder through fucking 5 tables, and then they'll have him show up the next night on Raw like nothing happened.
But
maybe with a limp and a bandage.
Even Mean Gene coming on promoting the next event. Even Sean Mooney promoting.
Yep.
Like, this whole thing is like a big commercial, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, that's
Bobby
the way it was.
Heenan,
That's
really?
the way it was structured back then.
And you don't even care.
Speaking of selling, here we go. This guy's
DDT.
definitely going to sell the DDT.
I think he's going to win now.
Yeah.
I don't think he's getting up.
This is over. Crowd's into it.
Jake was a man.
I love Jake.
I wish he would still wrestle. That would be amazing.
He can hardly move. Even though he's done all that DDP yoga.
He did DDP, though, I thought.
Yeah, he did the yoga, but yeah. And he's clean, but...
Jake was the man, though.
Yeah.
He really was. Jake was amazing. He should have got the belt. He should have. He deserved it.
I'm not
I
saying
guess he didn't need it.
He didn't need it.
He was so over.
Yep.
And then I did see in an interview with Jake that they tried to do a program with him and Hulk.
Yep. I've heard that story.
And then Jake got the bigger pop.
That's
So
that's what they say. They say Hulk and Jake, they tried it. Yeah. The only time I really think that could have worked was when they turned Jake bad when he crashed Macho Man's wedding. Maybe they could have capitalized and done Jake Hogan then. But they went with Jake. They went with Hogan Undertaker.
Well, I mean, if he's crashing Mach's wedding, then it just makes sense to put him against Mach.
Well, they did, but I mean, even after.
But keep it going.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, they could have kept that one going too. That's
those two together could have ran that like nobody's business.
Who? Him and Hogan?
Mach and Jake. They could have kept that going, and we still would have bought a ticket every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like that got cut short. As a kid, I expected that to culminate at WrestleMania.
Those two would have been. But he left, right? Didn't Jake leave for WCW?
That night, but the original plan was Hogan and Flair for the title at WrestleMania, which automatically means they probably would have done Savage and Jake as the big blow-off as the co-main event. Because they had a couple of matches, and they needed but they switched things up. There's been different rumors out there. It was the steroid trial coming up. It was Hogan leaving. It was Hogan and Flair not being able to come up with an idea on a finish. I don't know what to believe, but then they pivoted and they switched to Hogan and Sid, Savage and Flair. They moved to Jake and Undertaker. So it was...
But all I do remember is when Hogan went to WCW, I was more than happy to see that match, and I wish that it would have happened.
Yeah.
At 8. You, even as a kid, okay? Do you remember
Rico Federico? What a name there. Rico Federico against Mr. Perfect.
It's a hell of a name.
That's the main event on Primetime Wrestling.
Rico Federico?
Rico Federico. Not
Federico.
Federico.
Not Federico.
That's try saying that 3 times. Yeah, that's quite the tongue twister we got there. Rico Federico.
They gave him the main event just for his name.
Gave him the main event just because of
Rico Federico.
Just his last name. His last name sold the promoter.
Hey, Rico's not too bad either.
No, it's
Rico
not.
Federico.
No, Rico Federico. That's right. I wonder if he ever watched a Rico Suave video before.
I don't know.
Maybe, maybe not. But I think we're winding down here in this watch line. I think we're down to the end here.
This is fun.
This has been a lot of fun.
This
yes, it has. Fun. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you to all your listeners.
Oh, well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for letting me pop my cherry, and also for anybody listening.
This has been great. It's been a lot of fun. This Christmas in July episode, we've been catching up, talking about our childhood and wrestling and watching what's in front of us here. Coming up here, we got Mr.
Perfect
with Bobby the Brain Heenan.
The man.
Now,
he was like seriously one of the greatest ever.
He was. And that's someone that should have been the world champion in the WWF.
Absolutely.
He should have had a run with the WWF world title, in my opinion.
They really should have put Hogan Flair at WrestleMania 8. Because
they
did not have the same flair. No pun
look at that.
intended,
George Steinbrenner. Former owner of the New York Yankees.
WCW.
There he is. Rico Federico.
He looks like he's reaching for a gun, Steinbrenner.
Yeah. Or he's making sure that Bobby Heenan didn't pickpocket him.
Didn't steal his money.
Yeah, Hogan and Flair should have been a thing at WrestleMania, but Mr. Perfect definitely should have been the world champion. That to me, I felt like
he wrestled Hogan a lot.
He did.
I thought they had great matches too.
They had some pretty good matches.
Perfect could wrestle a broom though.
Yeah.
And make it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, his talent was unlimited.
I thought Hogan was always great too. I know people always cut on him, but
Hogan had a formula that worked for him, and he had good matches. You
waited for his formula. As a kid, you waited for it.
Oh yeah.
The Hulk up, the thing.
But you waited for everybody's formula, though, if you think about it.
Absolutely.
Everyone had a routine.
Gave the sign?
Yeah.
Come on.
Or when Perfect used to bump, for instance, when
nobody bumped like Perfect.
Oh God, no. When Perfect used to bump, like if he got whipped into the corner, he'd
remember the hair. People grab him by the hair.
Yeah, and then he would do a helicopter spin type bump. It was something else. It was a shame though that injuries kind of shortened his in-ring career, at least in the WWF.
It happens though. I mean, they're almost 300 days a year.
Oh, I mean, yeah, those guys would burn the candle on both ends like it was no tomorrow. Wrestling 2 times a night sometimes, and then
you can't
traveling
call it fake. My opinion, no one can call wrestling fake.
No,
there's nothing.
It's an athletic form of entertainment.
Yeah.
That's why people say it's sports entertainment. People hate that word because it takes away the wrestling aspect of it, but it's an athletic form of entertainment. You're a professional stuntman.
There's nothing. Our friendship was originally based on wrestling, so there's nothing fake about our friendship.
No.
There's nothing fake when my dad came home with tickets to the Hartford Civic Center.
No.
And it's my dad and I going to a wrestling match. First wrestling match.
I know. I was talking about stories like that with my grandfather used to take me to the Civic Center in Hartford.
There's there's nothing fake about it.
Yeah.
There was a video that came out recently of a comedian that did a stand-up show where I don't know if it was a stand-up, maybe he wasn't a comedian. I think he was like a motivational speaker. Oh, here we go.
Fisherman suplex. Perfect plex.
Hooked him with that bridge. And there's the 3 count.
Bye-bye,
did he?
Frederico. He
it's over.
Slammed his head down.
Yeah.
For good measure.
Mr. Perfect was just... He looked like a star. Look at him with the Intercontinental title. I mean, that's just...
Perfect was...
Yeah. Almost perfect. If you think about it.
But
almost perfect. You know?
Remember his vignettes?
Oh,
absolutely perfect.
Yeah, where he,
the baseball.
The baseball, hit the home run, threw the football and caught it himself. I mean...
He was great.
Let's take a listen one more time here to Bobby and Gorilla.
$1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and Brother Love. What about Mr. Perfect? Mr. Perfect's not your friend. You have to pay him.
He's too my friend.
And he's not too happy about the way you've been paying him either.
You're starting trouble now.
No, you're starting trouble.
See, Mr. Steinbrenner came to see me, made me an offer, maybe taking over the NY Yankees. You never know. See Tom McHugh in there from the Tampa.
That was the fellow sitting next to him.
Great sports writer. Yeah, I help him write a lot of stuff. He's a journalist like me. I give him tips.
Excuse me. Do they know this?
Hey, George. What?
He's in a baseball sign.
Get a job away from here.
You'd be my third base coach.
No,
I'd run you up and down that line.
No, thank you.
I'd have you head first sliding.
No, thank you. Wouldn't do you a bit of good, brain.
Warm up the bullpen, boy.
Warm up the bullpen, huh?
What an impressive
I want to get our crew all set here.
These guys are the best.
I definitely want to get a shot of this tree before we get off the air.
And my gift.
This gift coming to give you.
Oh, crew, I got something for all of you. All of you.
Remember when you gave your last year?
No.
Oh, this is going to be good.
That's awesome.
Well, folks, we've just about reached the conclusion of the special 1990 edition Christmas. What are you doing?
Well, my gift. I'll get your gift.
It's not time for the gift. We have lots of time, Brain. We want to talk about next week's New Year's Eve special. Great matches lined up for you right here. 9 p.m. is our starting time. New Year's Eve. Join us right here on PrimeTime Wrestling. What a lineup we've got coming. The Macho King taking on Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Ooh, yeah.
Shawn Michaels against the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase.
My man Haku against that submarine hunter.
Which Tugboat. Just say the guy's name.
They sell it.
Tag team action. The Bushwhackers taking on Rhythm and Blues. And
sounds like a good
Marty
card.
Jannetty against the model Rick Martin.
Wow.
That's a great card.
That's a good card for 1990.
Yes. Who you don't know about yet, but will be coming up very shortly. And I have your gifts. They're right down here, Brain. Or gift, I should say. They brought all... Oh, before we go any farther, folks, I want the camera guys to get a good shot of what a nice job the Brain did on the tree.
Not bad.
Take a look at this. Give me your honest opinion.
That's great.
The panoramic view.
Wow.
Isn't that lovely?
Well, you have to understand something. It's an artificial tree, so I did an artificial job of trimming it.
Don't let this guy get anywhere near any of your property.
Not bad, huh? Now I'm going to give you your gift first. Close your eyes, monkey man.
So many of these guys are gone, though.
It's terrible.
Oh, boy, you really outdid yourself, did you?
Can I tell you something?
Heavy expense involved here, right?
I had a cashmere coat made for you, but the tailor lost it in shipping. But it'll get here. So you wouldn't go without nothing? Here, pal. You have a ball.
Your kindness is only exceeded by your inability to adjust.
Give me mine.
Well, we've got a couple of gifts here. Some for the guys around the studio. And
that's mine.
Just a moment. I didn't say that was yours.
The big one's always mine.
This is yours.
No,
right
I want
here.
the big one. I get the big one. 9/10 of the law.
Folks, that's not his gift. This was his... That gift is for our custodial guy, Carlos. Some tools for the guy. Bought some...
I don't use tools.
That's not for you. This is for you right here. Now this is going to go to Carlos. The Rolex. What are you doing? Are you crazy?
Well, you can slide it under his door.
It's nuts.
A Rolex. Who are you kidding? That was for me.
Up, dummy. That was your gift.
Oh, no. Well, tough. Merry Christmas, Carlos.
gift is intact, believe me. Merry Christmas, everyone. We'll see you all next week right here on the New Year's Eve Swing of Prime Time.
That was my Rolex?
That's great.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah, that was some fun stuff. Well, I appreciate you tagging along with me here.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
This has been a lot of fun. Thank you, Nick, for the request. It's Christmas in July here this week on Kicking Out at 2, and I thought I would deliver on your special watch-along request, and hopefully you all enjoyed it as well. Strolling back down memory lane with my good friend Dean, and talking about our days as wrestling fans growing up. This has been a lot of fun. So once again, thank you as well. I'm going to have you on soon.
Thank you to your listeners for having me.
Oh, that's they just press play. They don't format the show. So I mean, but I appreciate your kindness and your generosity, and we're definitely going to get together soon and do another one of these. I'm thinking SummerSlam '91. Like I said, it was the first time you and I ever watched a live pay-per-view together. So 30 years later, let's do it all over again, but this time make it into a podcast.
Let's do it.
All right, my man.
Let's do it.
And with that being said, I think it's about that time we put this show down for the 3 count, and we'll see you all next week.